Actually, I'm turning the recorders on now, so.
And then you can edit.
Here. Yep. Okay, we're off the air for that one. Okay. All right, we're back with Legends of Pro Wrestling Chairman Jack Blaze, an extended play, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for bearing with us as we had technical difficulties earlier, and we don't want to penalize our guest for our stupidity. So, Jack, welcome back, and continue what we was you were talking about Lanny Poffo and the possibility of Macho Man and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Who else did you have on your radar for the Hall of Fame?
It's going to be a great class. And what's interesting about the class is that it's the young all the way to the old to current. I mean, it's the list. What I'd like to do quickly is just kind of briefly run down, and then there's some names that I love to name drop anyway.
Okay.
Beyond the names that I mentioned earlier, some of the other guys that I have had the privilege to induct, obviously, besides Owen, was also Jim Neidhart, but also Lord Zoltan. He got on there a couple of times. Gangrel. I actually got to work with Shane Douglas, induct him in, become partners with him in the company for a while.
Okay.
Steve Corino, Raven, Jake the Snake Roberts, Diamond Dallas Page, Greg Valentine, of course, members of DX, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and X-Pac, Buddy Landell, Al Snow, the Maestro, Sanjay Dutt. He was our youngest inductee ever. Like for the Rock and Roll Express, both members, including an honorary member of Tommy Gibson, who at times would fill in for Robert on the indie scene. Great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Dan the Beast Severin, Eugene, Tommy Rich, and Necro Butcher. So as you can see, it goes, from your hardcore to every promotion, new school, old school, and that's what I love about it. That's what I love about it. Because some of these guys might never, ever get recognized anywhere else.
I mean, and you're naming some big names. I mean, and these guys come and they accept this award and this certificate in person. I mean, you're meeting some class of the wrestling world. I mean, I'm jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, and then I'll tell you something, and something else. It's kind of breaking ground a little bit, and the indie scene. You could spend a whole show talking about the state of indie wrestling and where it's at today, with all the hate and the politics and the egos and the crappy indie message board and all the garbage that goes on. I mean, that could be a whole show.
Right.
But I always focus on, what we're here for the fans. Number one, without the fans, none of us would be doing this. Two, you know what, if it's the last thing I want to do, I just want to go into the ring and honor them. Now, what makes this a little bit even more eye-catching, and what caught the attention of the WWE, they were the first ones to actually hear about it, and they heard about it quickly, is when I do come out to the house that Jack built.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all decked out in Celtic crosses and sunglasses with a flask in my pocket, and on the back of my shirt it says Vince Who, because I get on a complete case about guys that are getting airtime for the Hall of Fame, like Mike Tyson, Drew Carey, Bob Uecker. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yep.
I understand why they do it. I understand, their reasoning behind it, but then when you look at the legends that are sitting in them chairs behind them, and the only way you can hear their speech is to buy the extended 3-disc DVD version to be released later, I have a problem with that. And I think very vocal about it. But at the very end, too, my mouth gets me in trouble with the legends. I see that one little thing that pisses them off. And, again, that doesn't supposed to happen on a Hall of Fame speech either. Everyone's supposed to be in suit and ties, everybody has a tear in their eye, and everybody stands up and claps. Mine's not quite like that. My presentation's very nice.
Yeah.
But I've had my head shaved by Beefcake. I've had the DDT and the snake thrown on me by Jake, the guitar over my head by Honky, blood spit in my face by Bang Grill before he gave me the Impaler DDT, and Eugene pulled my pants down in the middle of the ring.
Eugene.
You name it, it's happened to me. So they get to go out with a bang, and I usually end up staring at the lights, and that's how my Hall of Fame's in.
Sounds
So
fun.
again, it's another neat thing to do.
I mean, it's different, you know, and it's taken off. I mean, it's not a gimmick. You know, a lot of these people have, you know, there's 1,000+ Facebook wrestling sites that have their own, you know, Hall of Fame, and I'm doing the air quotes, Hall of Fame, and it's a gimmick. Yours is not a gimmick. Yours is the real deal. I mean, you get behind it, you have credibility, you have people that are actually, you know, real wrestlers that show up to accept the award, and again, I keep hate using the word gimmick, but you're the real deal. I mean, it just, there's no gimmick about what you do, and you know, I congratulate you on that, because I'm sure it's very time consuming to do what you do.
Yes, it is, and I appreciate it. That's probably one of the nice compliments I've gotten along the way. You know, the hate is very, very bad out there, and it's sad because the egos and the personalities. You know, a lot of promotions like to attack each other. You know, I'm not going to say nothing good about this guy. Don't ever work for him, but you know, and it's horrible. If anything, we should be all working together. And a lot of people think, you know, and I would love to work with my so-called competitor, and I would love to do an invasion angle. My guys.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that, because I just had a show. Was actually our episode 1 of our second season, our first show of January. It was January 5th, where I reached out to, and I'm not going to name them because they already had their 5 minutes of fame. I reached out to a local independent wrestling company in New Jersey, and they basically shunned me away, calling me somebody that just wanted free tickets. And I meant nothing to them because they didn't know who I was and they didn't need me, yada, yada, yada. And said it was a slap in the face because I worked so closely with Jersey Championship Wrestling and Ricky O that they were insulted that I came to them to ask them to get into their arena.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So I put them on total blast that show. And I even gave them a chance to get on their soapbox and call into the show and explain to themselves. And they never did. So, you know what? I take it for where it comes from.
And yeah, you know what? And it's I've had the same types of things happen. I mean, when they do bring me in to do the Hall of Fame, again, it's kind of weird to do because it'd be like Vince McMahon showing up to do a skit on a TNA show or triple. You know, it just doesn't happen. And for me to be able to take my Hall of Fame on the road, so to speak, and go where the legends are at. I mean, it's awesome. And of all the times I've been doing it, there's only been one guy in the history of my Hall of Fame that's no-showed, and he no-showed me in my town. And speaking of New Jersey, I was booked to induct the same person 2 years later in New Jersey. 8-hour trip for me. I'd got the hotel, and of course he no-showed them as well.
Oh.
That one was disappointing.
You're not going to name any names?
I mean, if you had one guess who it is, I'm kind of curious who you think it might have been.
He's from New Jersey?
What's that?
Is he from New Jersey?
No.
No.
Oh. Big star, no-showed twice.
Is he alive? Still. Trying to narrow it down, but
I've got a guess.
Guess who? What do you think?
Scott Hall.
Anybody have a guess?
He said Scott Hall.
No, but it's in that same. I'll even give you a hint.
Okay.
I'll say big guy.
What? Nash? Kevin.
No, Nash goes where the money's at.
Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash.
Was it Kevin Nash?
No.
No.
Not Kevin Nash.
Oh, I give up.
Goldberg.
Give up?
No. Yeah, I give up.
Sid Bishop.
Sit.
Oh.
Jelly
He
leg.
probably had some sort of a softball game. I guess that's his thing. But no, I went down to New Jersey and I won't say it wasn't for nothing, because I got to do some segments backstage and work with like Matt Hardy, and it was really cool to see like Marty Jannetty. That recent picture of Marty Jannetty that's on my Facebook page, that's where it came from. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't a total loss, but it was definitely disappointing to have a no-show twice.
Yeah, that's kind of crappy. I mean, once is all right. Oops. Second, it just becomes a pattern, and
It's kind of disrespectful.
yeah, it's very disrespectful. So I wouldn't extend a third invite. I'll tell you that.
No, definitely not.
That's 2 strikes, you're out in his softball game.
Yeah, I mean, you lose out on a plane ticket like that, and there's no refunds. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts the bank account.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so what's your immediate goals now for 2014? Since we're only about 2.5, 3 weeks into the year.
Sure. Right now, the LPW Hall of Fame class is literally in production, and actually, I am going to reach back out to Lanny Posso about the Macho Man. I'm kind of waiting to see what the complete WWE Hall of Fame class is first. I want to see a complete list first before I hit that route.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be on it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I really don't. But I'm looking to, again, assuming their health, beautiful Bobby and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Another one would be Road Warrior Animal. He is another one that I've been in contact with. That great guy. He brings down the spike pads. He does the whole gimmick, everything. So really, really nice guy. And one that I've been trying to find, because I just think it would be so unique, is Rugged Ronnie Garvin.
Oh.
He's a pilot, and I think Ronnie Garvin would just be tremendous. Again, where's he at? It's almost like, where are they now? The students you see, Ronnie Garvin, I'd love to bring him in. And there's others. Big Bully Busick. He lives really, really close to me. And he wants to come in for the Hall of Fame. So these are just some of the ones for the class. And who knows if there's another promotion out there, and I would definitely say if there's any promotions out there at all, if you want that extra added attraction, you're bringing somebody in. All expenses are on me. I want to make that perfectly clear, too. The production of the video, those very expensive plaques, everything that is done is all on my expense. It's just my way of giving back. So I would induct anybody that is coming in for anybody.
All right, well, I'll definitely have to pass it on to Ricky O of JCW.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, we just went to a show on Friday. Matt Spreaker, Spirit Squad, SoCal Val, and Jake the Snake Roberts were in the house. So
that's an interesting group, too. That's a wide variety of talent. I like it.
Yeah, and it wasn't, it's not even like an advertised, like, super show. Like, once a year, a lot of these promotions have, like, that super show where they have all this WWE talent. This is kind of what Ricky does. I mean, he's been involved in wrestling for so long, and a lot of these guys were in indie back in the day, and now they're towards the end of their career, and they're starting to give back to the indie circuit. This is where I came from, so you know what? I'm giving it back to the fans, because without indie and without these fans, they never would have made it to WWE and WCW, TNA, and all those other large market promotions. So, I mean, right. Matt Stryker says it in an interview I had with him. He says, this is where I started. He goes, it's only natural for me to come back here.
Nice. That's very true. Yeah, well, now, can I ask you guys a question? Because I'd love your feedback on the question.
Sure.
One of my things that I've been wanting to do, and I always ask even the legends that I bring in, and I get very interesting answers, and it's never the same. And it's going to be one of those questions when I ask you, you're probably going to go, ooh. Well, one of the things that I want to do is I've got the contact information of his dad to accept the honor, and I want to induct Chris Benoit.
Oh, man.
It's one of those things, I know. The personal life overshadowing the professional life, and they're just now slowly going to move them back into the WWE network, if they're going to have to put a disclaimer and all that, just to show one of his matches. But I don't know. it's something, again, it's over the top, it's controversial. I know he'll never make it to the WWE Hall of Fame, and as a performer, I thought he was one of the best.
I can't
ring.
deny that. I mean, in the ring, he was he was one of the best technical wrestlers. Top, probably of his generation, top 5 all time. I'd say top 15, if not top 10. But
what's your opinion? I mean, is that?
We don't really mention his name on our show, so. But I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand where you're coming from. You're treading on very thin ice because so many people have so many different opinions because of what he did, but you want to induct him just because of what he did in the ring.
Right.
But some people are kind of nearsighted and don't really see past what he did in his personal life.
It's going to be taken as very controversial.
Yeah, I mean, it's
no matter which way you look at it.
Sure.
If you did it, I wouldn't think any less of you. I can tell you that. I actually would think that you're very ballsy, and very brave.
The keys to success, my friend.
Yeah. So I can't. It's not going to hurt you. It can only help.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I appreciate the insight. I really do. I love to hear what other people think about that, and I appreciate you, putting yourself out there and answering that question. So, appreciate it.
Because people who know me and know our show know that I don't talk too highly about him. So, but what he did in the ring, I can't say anything bad. What he did in the ring, the guy was a monster in the ring, and but. I don't know. I don't know if because it kind of hit too close at home with what he did, and or maybe it was just the steroid thing. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I can't fault anybody but himself. But
no matter what with this guy, forever his name is going to be followed by that.
It's just going to be like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. There's always going to be that cloud over their head, no matter what. But
and the other thing I will add to it, and I don't want to drag out the situation because it is controversial, is one of the things that I am noticing, I'm sure you'll agree, is the type of brain injury that he had.
Mm-hmm.
It was overlooked because a lot of people do not consider professional wrestling a sport. It's sports entertainment, so it was such a black eye on the business they could never recover.
Right.
But the same types of things are now happening in the NFL, and now all of a sudden you're seeing federal judges stepping in, wanting to compensate retired football players from the same type of exact brain injuries that Chris Benoit had.
Yeah.
Because
no, you're right.
Happening in the NFL, now they're taking it seriously. And it has happened, the same type of exact murder-suicide has already happened again.
No, I agree with you. I've been a big proponent that wrestling should be unionized, that these guys should be protected. These guys and ladies should be protected. They should have pensions, and when their bodies can't do it no more, it shouldn't be guys like Vince saying, you know what, you can't do it. All right, goodbye. It should be, all right, you can't do it no more. I should be able to retire. I should be able to get a pension. I should be able to have support from a union, and later on in life, if I do have injuries, like need a hip replacement or a kneecap replacement, I shouldn't have to be doing charitable donations to pay for my surgery. I should be able to pay for it because I have medical coverage through my union, and I have a pension that I'm collecting when I'm 65, 70 years old.
I couldn't have said it better. I 150% agree with that.
And I've said it so many times on the show, and it's not just because we go to independent wrestling and we see what these guys put their bodies through. I'm not blind, I see even on TV. I see it. When nobody saw Daniel Bryan, incident when he got the concussion, I noticed it immediately. I was like, wow, how is he even standing up? And then when it came out, he had the concussion. Everybody was like, "Oh, you know, how? Where? I didn't see him hit his head," because it happened so fast, and you don't mess with the brain. I'm sorry, you just don't mess with it.
Right.
So that gets me all like flushed out and upset because I hate seeing stories of like Kamala and the Iron Sheik and guys like that who have to raise money to pay for a simple surgery that medical coverage should be paying for, and it makes me really sad. It really does. It really makes me upset.
It does me too, and it was a real eye opener, you know, having to pick some of these guys up at the airport and seeing the condition they were in, barely able to move, and you know, I'm 37, you know, so
you're younger than me.
Yeah. So, you know, when I
Great.
was watching wrestling, you know, I pretty much got started in the 80s as a kid, and I idolized. I mean, they were larger-than-life characters. And when I see what the business has done to their bodies, and some of them, this is their second job. You know, they were main eventing, or not necessarily main eventing, but on a WrestleMania card, you know, making great paychecks to where now, you know, they need that $500 to $750 extra income per weekend, you know, just to make ends meet.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
just,
yeah.
And they're wrestling crippled and hurt. And
Jake the
it's
Snake
so
is
sad.
Jake the Snake is a perfect example of that. This guy was in
Yeah.
numerous WrestleManias, you know, and now he's on his the comeback tour. I think it's more of a message out there to stay away from drugs and alcohol and things. You know, it's more of like that kind of a message. But I mean, he's still getting in the ring. He's still drawing the crowds, and it's a shame because JT and I were talking. I was like, he really didn't any wrestle. He got in the ring. He did an elbow in the corner. He did his short arm clothesline and a DDT. That was it. That was the extent of his wrestling.
That's all he had to do.
Yep.
So, but that's what the fans came to see. So nobody's going to think anything of it.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly. And he was able to pull it off. And I have worked with Jake a few times. The first time we worked with him, he was a mess.
yeah.
And I'm not saying anything that's not public knowledge. And I, as a promoter / chairman, I mean, I did make the mistake of booking Jake and New Jack on the same show. Bad mistake. And those two hit it off a little bit too good. And it was very embarrassing. You know, Jake was in horrible shape. He exposed himself in the middle of the ring. He threw up and fell in his own vomit. And it was horrible. And I was so embarrassed for the company and for him. And that was in 2007.
Right.
You bring him back in 2010, completely different Jake.
Right.
And now you fast forward to 2014, and you look at the great work that DDP has done with him and Scott Hall.
Yep.
You know, God loved DDP for his DDP yoga and his positive lifestyle, man. 'Cause I will go on record to say if it wasn't for Diamond Dallas Page, he kind of picked up the slack where this business should have taken care of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
One, if not both of them, would probably be dead by now.
Scott Hall for sure. I mean, Scott Hall was pretty much telling them that he wanted to commit suicide, and they begged him to come to DDP's house.
Right.
And they met him at the airport and basically saved his life.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
that's that was that's public knowledge. I'm sure there was more behind it, but just the public not part of it, it's very sad. And again, it's why is that? It's because there's nothing there for these guys to turn to. There's nobody there. There's no hand to help them. And I just don't I mean, these guys, they're basically contracted. They contract themselves to wrestle, and they wrestle at their own expense, and they wrestle, you know, if they get hurt, you're done. If it's a career-ending injury, you're beat.
You're screwed.
You're screwed. It doesn't matter. You could be a 6-time world champion, you get hurt, and you be bagging groceries at ShopRite.
Right.
It's so sad. I have to stop talking about it because it's getting me really upset.
No, I mean, it's good to talk to someone like this that is as passionate, and that's why, even though, you know, we're not on a WWE type of scale, but that is why I have the same exact passion and feelings as you do. And if I have to go broke, even dipping into my own pocket to make sure that for one night I made their life just a little bit better, that's what this business to me is all about. It ain't about how much money I made at the door. I'd rather, if I have anything extra, I give it to them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way I run my company. And my locker room of guys, the guys that work for me, is my second family. You know, so I don't know. I get fired up about it myself, and I'm going to continue to do it. I'm going to continue to honor these great men and women from all different eras until I can no longer do it.
Well, hopefully we can arrange something and get you to New Jersey to induct somebody in front of the JCW crowd. And
I'd love to.
if not, just in general, if you're in Jersey area, we could definitely meet up with you and you know, talk a little wrestling over some dinner and drinks, and you know,
yes, absolutely.
I feel like I'm talking to myself on the phone.
Yeah, I could share some great off-the-record road stories that would have you guys just cracking up. Things
Sure.
that I've seen and heard. It's awesome.
I'm sure we have some stories for you, too.
Well, I definitely had some cool stories from back in the early 80s and the WWE when they were the WWF. They used to wrestle in the... I'm from Staten Island, New York, and they used to wrestle in Wagner High School and Wagner College, and I've seen Andre the Giant walk out of the locker room with nothing but a towel, but it looked like a doily. And, yeah, I got some Jimmy Snuka stories. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things that probably at 8 years old I probably shouldn't have seen, but...
What are you going to do?
Oh, yeah, same here. Same here.
But anything else you like to promo? We've got about 2 minutes left.
No, again, I just want to thank you guys for bringing me on, and you know, I'd love to come back sometime. If anybody wants to know what the dates are, you can either look me up as Jack Blaze directly on Facebook, or go to Facebook and type in Legends Pro Wrestling, hit that like button, you know, spread the word, and if, you know, I'll take recommendations. If there's someone that I'm overlooking and you think, hey, this person, I know we get you their contact info. I love to network. That's what it's about, networking. Please, you know, hit me up anytime. I'm very fan-friendly, and I always answer my emails.
All right, well, as a fan, we appreciate that you reach out to the fans and you communicate. That you know you don't just put yourself on your pedestal and look down on everybody.
Not at all.
But thank you very much for coming on the show and enlightening us with what the LPW is, and sharing some stories with us. And
we look forward to more.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck in 2014. Maybe we'll get you on the second half of the year, and
yes, please, let's stay in touch for sure.
Oh, definitely. We're on Facebook, and we're, like I said, we whore ourselves out very well, so we're easily found.
And we're cheap.
And yeah, and we're cheap. We work for free pens.
Guys, thank you so much for the time. I really had a good time.
All right, Jack. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jack Blaze, the chairman of Legends of Pro Wrestling. We'd like to thank you for tuning in for the extended half of our show. So I guess this would be 4B. 4B. That's it. There's no music for our outro with extended version. So
we don't need it. We're cheap horse. Okay. Damage 365 Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the Royal Rumble. Take care.